sell something that just can't be bought. Say it's the latest and the greatest, but I know that it's not. Be somebody you don't wanna be. Didn't even exist last year, but now it's what we need.
My name is Amy Tobin. I'm the Executive Director of the David Brower Center in Berkeley, California, and that's where we're standing. This building was just completed in May of this year, and the idea was to create a home for environmental and social activism. This is a building that's designed to run on daylight. We wanted to make sure that in the offices, people don't need to turn on their lights during the day. So it has a very narrow floor plate, and we maximize daylight deep into the offices, and most of the offices have open floor plans. So even though some people want to have private offices, they sacrifice that so that they can actually have natural light in their workspace. We also have operable windows, which is unusual in office buildings in this country. Usually we have forced air, and it's not a particularly healthy work environment. There are some other big ideas in the building. It's a concrete and steel structure, and we have in-slab radiant heating. So instead of heating and cooling the air in the building, we heat and cool the structure, and it radiates heat out. That takes longer, but it's much more efficient. Because of the daylight, we don't need to have lights on as much. We are collecting rainwater and using that for our toilets as well as for irrigation. One of the most innovative aspects of this building is the post-tensioned system. So this building is built on a very active earthquake fault line. So what's the greenest thing you can do? It's make sure your building doesn't fall down in an earthquake. There's all this embodied energy, all the resources that went into building it, and we want to make sure that it's safe and that it's standing at the end of an earthquake. So inside the concrete, there are a series of steel cables running both vertically and horizontally. And they were tightened after the concrete cured. And the idea is that they act like giant rubber bands, and the building actually heals itself in an earthquake. We're only the second building to use this vertical post-tension system, this technology. So there are all kinds of other stories in the building. One of the great things is you don't have to be in the building to learn about it. You can go to browercenter.org, and you click on Our Building and Building Dashboard, and you come up to this window. And here you can actually see how much energy we're using at any given time. You can see now, and you can compare it to yesterday, and you can also look back in history. You can see how our photovoltaic system is working, how our solar panels are working. We think that they will ultimately produce about 40% of the building's energy, and they're all on our roof. Here you can see how much city water versus rainwater we're using. And then there's a section called Green Features, and there are 25 different green features, and there's detail about those design elements. So you can actually click through, you can learn more about the concrete. We have 50 to 70% of the concrete mix is actually slag, which is a waste product. So you can learn about that. That's something that's normally thrown away. It's a byproduct of steel manufacturing, and we used it so we didn't have to use as much cement. So we want this building to be a learning opportunity. We expect to have a LEED Platinum rating, which is the highest green rating available. And you know, some things will work and some things won't. So we want it to be studied and a model for commercial buildings in the future.
Oh no, not me. Oh no, not me. 'Cause I'm headed home. I'm headed home.